Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dr. Quack Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Quack.
And I'm the important one, Mr. Mayhem. Man, it's 1995. I could watch this show. I could watch this whole year 4, 5, 6, 10,000 times a day. I'm going to watch this show right here 10,000 times a day. It's so awesome.
Can you feel the love tonight here? Yes, we're talking about Slamboree 1995. We continue our Slamboree quest here.
I think I blew out my voice box, but God, did this show suck.
Oh, I don't know.
How do you keep throwing 1995 at me after you put in my contract? There better be a pay bump.
Oh, there's a little bit, not much. Maybe an extra 50 cents, but yeah, we'll get there. Right now, we got from World Championship Wrestling Slamboree 1995, May 21st, 1995, in St. Petersburg, Florida.
Ugh.
Bayfront Arena.
I'm gonna give one little credit to Slamboree. At least they're trying to do something nice. World Wrestling Federation, World Wrestling Entertainment, they do their Hall of Fames as part of WrestleMania weekend. At least WCW tried to make a whole show just for their legends. So that's the only thing so far I can say nice about the show. At least they tried to make their legends feel important.
Yeah, and on commentary is not Tony Schiavone because he was actually sick during this time. We had Eric Bischoff, Bobby Heenan, and on one match we had the great Gordon Soley.
Yeah, and Tony Schiavone was out because when you're a pencil neck geek and you break 5 vertebrae by sleeping wrong, that's a joke, folks. He really did have neck fusion surgery, but it wasn't because he was sleeping wrong. It was because he tried to work out and he went to play tennis and he turned funny. That's how he really hurt himself. And Eric Bischoff was not great on this. I've got something about that coming up that I'm going to point out later coming up. Since you made me watch 95, you're needing some of this too.
Yeah.
And Bobby was decent. Now, a little history here. This show took place about 3 weeks after the North Korea show. So they're going to talk about that a couple times in here and really put it over that it was something good. It wasn't, by the way. But they're going to talk about it. So that's where you get it. 3 weeks before they had the North Korea show with 190,000 some people who were forced to watch.
And doing the backstage interviews, Mean Gene Okerlund.
He actually did okay this time. He took control a couple times, like when Vader was running around or a couple other people. So I guess this week he had taken his Wheaties and he was doing better.
He did. And your ring announcer, Gary Michael Capetta and Michael Buffer.
We're 1 for 2 there. While Michael Buffer has a great voice, he doesn't watch wrestling, so he has to read the cards, and even when he's reading the cards, he still can't say everything right. 150,000 a year, folks. 150,000 a year.
Yes. And referees, we had Randy Anderson and Nick Patrick.
They didn't mention one more. A guy who only was there in 95 and 96 and only has 18 show credits. That is Jimmy Jett.
Yep, there you go on that. Opening match, we had the Nasty Boys taking on Harlem Heat with Sister Sherry for the WCW Tag Team titles. Yes, they fought each other a lot in 95. And here's one more.
Yeah, now there were 4 pre-show matches. We're not going over these things because we're not going to take the time to try and find the matches. The nice thing about the cock, they only give you the main events. They don't give you the pre-show. You don't get the foreplay. You just get...
Exactly.
But anyway, Brian Knobbs was hurt during one of those pre-show matches. So Jerry Saggs came out to do most of this match against Harlem Heat. And Sherry does a great job of selling and take a little abuse here. Jimmy Jett was the ref. That's why he didn't get brought up. I actually dug this match. I only went 2.5 because this wasn't one of their better matches together. But watching the Nasty Boys as baby faces and actually doing good work, 2.5 stars. It was a great open, great setting of the table.
Yep, he pretty much said it the way it is. I'm going to agree with that. I loved how Sherry got involved at the finish, and yeah, it was a great match. It went 2.5. Great start to this show, but, you know, we got to move on.
I can slow it down a little bit more. The Blue Bloods came out at the end because they were actually on the next pay-per-view. They were going to challenge whoever won this match, which, by the way, Jerry Sags got the win.
Yeah, and moving along here now, Kevin Sullivan taking on the man with no name.
All right. So this is pre-Dungeon of Doom, folks. This is pre-Dungeon of Doom because right now, the man with no face, name, Butcher, Zodiac, Barbary, Booty Man, Beefcake, Ed Leslie, is now feuding with Kevin Sullivan. But in about 5 weeks, he's going to become the Zodiac and yell yes, no a lot. Because he was so confused about it, whether he's feuding with Sullivan or not. This match was meh. It was okay. I'm a big Kevin Sullivan fan, and this one was not great. No. The only thing I cared about was King Curtis, the guy who was the master, the leader of the Dungeon of Doom, the fat guy with the forehead that had Abdullah the Butcher scars on it. He started the voice and Kevin Sullivan left. And I only bring that up because it can get worse, folks.
Oh, it can. Yeah, this was not a great match.
1.25.
You went a little lower than I did. I went 1.5. Yeah, this was just a filler match, and it's fine. It worked. It was the second match on the show, the bathroom break match, yes, in professional wrestling. Moving along, we had Wahoo McDaniels taking on Dick Murdoch.
Yeah, Gordon Soley, as he said, did the play-by-play here, helping on this one. Yes, editor, you can keep that in. Sorry, the editor was wanting to make sure my crazy rant could stay in, and yes, it needs to stay in. But anyway, Gordon Soley does the play-by-play here. It was great to hear him. He always did a great job. For those of you who are not familiar with Gordon Soley actually got trained in wrestling, not to be a wrestler, so he could explain as a play-by-play and commentary guy what it felt like and what they were going through.
That Crimson Mask.
That's dedication to the craft.
Yes.
And he gets rewarded for that coming up here in a little bit. Jimmy Jet ref this one. Now, Dick Murdoch, we reviewed a show in '96 where they did a tribute to Dick Murdoch. Well, this is actually the last match I could find where Dick Murdoch wrestled in the United States. He dies about a year later. Mm-hmm. But Dick Murdoch and Wahoo McDaniels, this one was okay. I don't think their hearts were in it. Wahoo was part of something coming up later on. Dick Murdoch was kind of putting himself out to pasture. I went 2 stars. It was okay. I enjoyed the story, but I don't think their heart was in it.
No, and my biggest problem with this is why do you have to switch it to black and white here? Why couldn't this match be in color? I mean, I went 1 3/4 on this. It doesn't look like you said, their heart really wasn't in it. They needed more oomph, and they did not have it.
Yeah, I agree.
And moving along here, now this was a classic here. The Great Muta taking on Paul Orndorff.
Classic. I'll let you go first.
Oh, yeah.
You want to call it a classic? I'll let you go first.
This was definitely a contrast to styles. They did not really mesh well in this. And I get it. They wanted to put over the IWGP heavyweight title. They wanted to have a good match with a crafty veteran in there. But in reality, it didn't go as well as planned. Great Muta, I think really shined in this, but Paul Orndorff did not. So, yeah, I went 2 stars because more of Muta than I did Orndorff. But overall, yeah, this was a match you could pass on.
Yeah, Nick Patrick refereed this match. I equate this match to being the retired, washed-up WWE guy that's shopping himself around to the indie circuits, not even super indie, just the indie circuits, taking on the local champion. Muta, unfortunately, because of their contrast of style, didn't look great here. He really didn't. This really felt like it would have appeared on your backyard show at the VA or at the Armory in some small town of 500 people. It really didn't feel good. I also went 2 stars. You're right. They did a good job putting over the IWGP. But Orndorff was at the end of his career. He was now bow-legged. He could hardly move. They didn't work well together. It was so sad to see.
It was. Moving on to my Quack Attack, because this match was actually the best match on the card to me, and that was Arn Anderson taking on Alex Wright for the World Television title. And this is what's great about it, because Alex Wright, Mr. I'm going to dance here and dance there, actually looked like a performer here. He actually looked good, and this is one of the few times I can actually say that. Like, there was a hope that Alex Wright could actually be a champion and look good. But Arn Anderson, of course, was carrying this match. I went 2.5 stars. I thought this was one of the top matches of the night, and that gets my Quack Attack.
Wow, I went way higher on this one than you did. I also agree. I really dug this match.
I'm sorry, no 3 stars in 1995 ever.
Yeah, Randy Anderson, Pee Wee Anderson did this one. You're right. Alex Wright was basically the WCW's version of Rocky Maivia. You can't smile enough, dance, look pretty, go out there, the people will love you. Well, no, they didn't.
No.
And because of that, he got a lot more heat from the boys than The Rock did, because Alex Wright is a second-generation wrestler from Germany. His father, Stephen Wright, was a good German wrestler. Arn Anderson basically got another 7 months out of this guy before they decided they needed to turn him into a jobber and turn him into Berlin, which made it even worse. Arn Anderson single-handedly taught all of you guys who want to find out how to work better and how to not be so gimmicky and get a better match out of somebody. I went 3 stars.
Wow, he actually did.
Most of it was for Arn Anderson, but Alex Wright, except for the end, he started to get a little too excited. He started to get really into himself. So he got a little sloppy at the end, but he listened, he followed. This was a great example of student and teacher. I enjoyed this match. I'm a huge Arn Anderson fan. I'm giving it 3 stars.
Okay, well, you give it 3 stars. That's amazing. I'm still sticking with my 2.5.
And I've got one more thing, and this is also why it's a 3-star match. You want to make me watch 1995? Well, for those of you that watch Heart and Soul Promotions, when we do our pre-show hosting and we talk about stuff, you always see Dr. Quack. Let's take it to the ring. Well, Eric Bischoff did that. That's where he stole it from. He stole it from Eric Bischoff.
Yes.
And that's not a good thing.
Yeah, I'll take it. I didn't even steal it from him, but I'll take it. Perfect.
Now we can move on.
Now we can move on. Mig taking on Road Warrior Hawk. And this one here, it might as well have been on WCW Saturday night because this match was very flat. I mean, most of these matches on this card was very flat. They didn't belong on a pay-per-view, but this is 1995, so this was the highest exception they had. I went 1 3/4 stars. I mean, it was a double count-out finish. This was filler. This was fluff. That's basically the way I looked at it.
Yeah, I don't know how long Ming and Robert Parker had been together at this time. I don't think it was very long because
About 6 months.
They really felt like this was trying to get Ming over as a monster.
Yes.
So Road Warrior Hawk at this time, the Road Warrior team was not together. Animal, I think, had taken some time off for some injuries, if I remember right. But yeah, he's right. This was meh, time wasting, 1.5. Saturday Night existed. They could have put this on Raw from the Hammerstein Ballroom and let Rob Bartlett call this thing. It would have got better, and that's not a good thing either.
Oh God.
Yeah, 1.5. Let's move on to something that actually was nice. I think the reason this match existed was because Wahoo needed time to get a shower and change clothes.
Yeah, this match here, Sting taking on Big...
Oh, the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah, you want to go into it? Yeah, the Hall of Fame, we're definitely going to go into that because that was definitely a great thing. I didn't have it in my notes. I did see it, but you go ahead and flip it.
Yeah, so the Hall of Fame, they brought Gordon Soley out there, and he talked about the accolades of the people that were coming in. He was told 6, and from everything I can find out, one of the few times that nobody said anything and they kept kayfabe, there ultimately was 7 people inducted into the WCW Hall of Fame in 1995. And those were Wahoo McDaniels, Terry Funk, Angelo Poffo, Antonio Inoki, Big John Studd, who had only died 2 months before from kidney cancer, so his son accepted for him, and Dusty Rhodes, who came out there with a young Cody baby. very young Cody and his other daughter Teal.
Yep.
He also mentioned his 2 other children who were older, including the Natural.
Yes.
And then Dusty Rhodes turned around and inducted Gordon Soley. And Gordon Soley, you could tell, for somebody who knows how to carry themselves all the way through, he got emotional. So he did not know. And it was a great job. Everybody spoke well. They explained these people's accolades. I'm not going to go into any more of their history. If you want to find out who they are, look them all up. Just like our 1993 review, they all deserve recognition as Hall of Famers.
Yes, that was definitely a high point of this show. But now we're going to go into Sting taking on Big Bubba Rogers.
I was trying to stall because I didn't like this match.
Did you not? Why? Why did you not like this match?
Well, let's start out with the fact they called this thing a lights out match. When I heard this, because I didn't remember watching this show, and I'm glad I didn't, because I'm not going to watch it ever again. When you hear lights out match, you either expect something like blindfolded or knock them out and they don't get up before a 10 count, or you pin them and then they still have 10 seconds to get up, or the arena is dark and you got a flashing strobe light like they do in Japan. No. We didn't get any of this. Their definition of a lights out match means it was no disqualification.
Yeah.
Editor, because you've been slipping. I'm about to come over and whoop your ass if you can't get this one right. We need reasons there just for why it was called lights out.
God.
We're tracking. Good. We're tracking.
Yeah, anyways, yeah, this match, yeah, I went about 2 stars on it. It wasn't great, it wasn't spectacular, because they fought each other so many times, again, in 95, because Sting couldn't be in the main event, because who was in the main event?
Yep.
Who?
I gave this 2 stars because had to cripple himself some more and crawl out there and do a bad job. I went 2 stars. The fans liked it. That's why I gave it 2 stars. This was really a 1.5 star match. It was very unthrilling. It was very unentertaining, but the crowd was happy.
Yeah, and now let's get to that main event. Go ahead. Because this match here,
the main event,
is Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage taking on Ric Flair and Vader, and this actually gets my 2-finger salute. We sprayed it, we stuck it, yeah, and I'm going to tell you my reason for the 2-finger salute. This match was pretty bad, but the worst part was Angelo Poffo selling. Oh my God. At the end of the match, he decided to get in there and stop Ric Flair and Arn Anderson from beating up on his son, and then he gets held and punched a little bit. He couldn't even move, and it was worse than a Lex Luger owl selling. He got put in the figure 4, and was just like, I'm going to put the mat. No sound, no nothing, no facial expression. I'm like, Jesus, I seen better acting on Law & Order SVU.
That's actually a good show.
It is.
You should have said you've seen better acting on kids doing a remake of anything.
Exactly. We'll go with that. But yeah, that gets my 2-finger salutes.
Yeah, we started right off with Michael Buffer. He deserves his own 2-finger salutes. So yeah, this was Ric Flair and Vader with Arn Anderson taking on Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage with Jimmy Hart and the world's worst ripoff, the Renegade.
Yes.
Yeah, he's all like.
You mean that wasn't the Ultimate Warrior?
Yeah, he's like all 5'7". Basically, he looks like a 16-year-old version of Bret Michaels. This match was not thrilling. It was not great. The Giant, Paul White, the Giant, blew his cue because he wasn't supposed to walk out while Hogan and Savage were standing there in the rampway. So he blew his cue, and Eric Bischoff tried to cover it. Then he walked back out there later. He hadn't debuted yet. Bobby Heenan tried to allude to, no, it couldn't be. I know it can't be. So they were trying to hint that it might be Andre's son. This was the start of that. This had bad production because when every time Hulk did his Hulk up, The hard cam kept pulling further back. And when you want to get more intensity, you want more drama, you're supposed to get closer, not farther away. Hogan, no selling. Yay. Randy Savage looked good, but had to stand next to Hogan. Yay. Vader bumping like a fool. Cool. Ric Flair doing the face plant halfway up the rail. I'll give you that one. That brings it up to 2 stars for me, but I agree with you. Really, this match sucked.
It did. I'm going to go 2 stars just because of all this crap. But yeah, that's the end of our show here. We're getting ready to finish off Slamboree with our final one. This one here.
Oh, boy.
Okay. And I saved this special for you because I care. Oh, it's true. You're welcome. I'm Dr. Quack.
I'm the important one, Mr. Mayhem, I promise. I'll try. It's not 1995. I'll try and be a little more understanding with this one, but there's a reason WWE, when they bought WCW, did not make a Slamboree a part of their rotation.
And we're out.